Today's presentation is called Adding Spark to Your Teaching and Learning with Digital Notebooks. This presentation is by Michelle Cosma and Irene Lang-Kleiman, both from the Department of Teacher Education at Miami University. I don't know about you, but I've tried multiple ways to increase my students' engagement with the course content. Lately, I've tried to welcome technology devices into the classroom and create positive uses within the curriculum. However, with so many tools, I sometimes feel overwhelmed. This year, I had the idea of using a digital notebook to connect my teaching with the students' learning and increase their participation. This presentation will provide you with ways to effectively use a digital notebook in your course. Everything that we do should be based around the technology standards from ISTE. Another model that was created by Dr. Ruben Pentendura is the SAMR model. And with this, it's a way that teachers can use kind of this model to reflect on their teaching. As you can see, there are 4 different categories: redefinition, modification, augmentation, and substitution. This gives you a way to identify whether you are enhancing your instruction or transforming your instruction when you use technology. The ideas presented here with the digital notebook will focus mostly on using the Google G Suite. We are going to be focusing on how we can include slides, docs, and spreadsheets into the digital notebook within your classroom, but feel free to also explore other tools that you might be able to use effectively within your classroom instruction. So we came up with this acronym called SPARK. Obviously, you can see that the S is for starter, then we have a participant, activist, reinventor, and knowledge sharer. These are the different levels that we feel educators can move through with their understanding and with technology and how they are able to best implement it into the classroom. We're going to give you 5 different strategies of how you can include digital notebooks within your lessons, and they will be geared toward the specific level that you feel you are most comfortable with technology. So let's first look at the starter here. A starter would probably take and create their own instructor notebook. This would be a digital notebook using Google Slides. You can see that there are some directions here on the right for how you would set up the sharing permissions, and then also how you would then present that information to the class. This can be just a simple, Google slide presentation where you put all of your notes for your face-to-face class sessions or for your specific lectures. One thing that I would suggest is to use one notebook for the entire semester. This will help students not have to always bounce back and forth between different presentations. And something that you can do is you can create a table of contents on the first slide and then use hyperlinks to connect to each of the different slides for the starting points of your modules or your specific class sessions. If you're ready to kind of move up a little bit and you see yourself as more of a participant, this can be something that you can use in your classroom. You can take the idea of the instructor notebook, and then you can also then create group activities within that digital notebook that students can then work together, collaborate, and participate during class. So as we said before with the starter, your instructor notebook should have the sharing permissions set at view only. That way you are the only person that can add information and things don't get moved around on accident. But when you are moving into a group activity, you want to consider then opening the sharing permissions to allow students to edit. I always do this at the beginning of class or the beginning of the activity. Then I can have each group create their own slide within that presentation and work on whatever that constructive activity is that I want them to work on during that class. So here's an example of the students are finding an article that supports the course topic that we are discussing. And then they were adding in different web links to the activity slide. And I like to use a reflective model of 3-2-1, where they have 3 main points from the article, 2 key vocabulary terms, and then 1 question that they can use for discussion. So this is something that we can do during class. They can see each other's work, which, often increases the level of engagement. And then also, again, puts it into one space, one notebook, where they can find all of the information that they need when they go back to review or study course concepts. So moving up a level, we've discussed how we can have an instructor notebook, how you can then open that instructor notebook to allow for group presentation and group collaborative work. The next thing that I would try to do is become an activist. This is where you are really trying to engage students to try things on their own, to really push them and their learning. And so I would have them create their own student digital interactive notebook. And so for this here, each student would have their own notebook, and I would encourage them to put all of their notes and links and things that they want to remember in their notebook. They can even connect to the instructor notebook. They can copy slides or even link them. And I also have had them put in their course assignments into this notebook as well. And then when they submit on Canvas, they submit the link for their notebook for me to review. So it becomes this one-stop shop for everything. Again, it can become, a lot of slides within their notebook. So have them create that table of contents on the first slide so that you have easy access to their assignments that they're submitting or things that you want to review. Another thing I found helpful with having the individual student notebooks is when you make comments on the slides as part of their work, you can then look back and you have this nice collection of their growth. And so it becomes even a portfolio for all of the stuff that they have completed throughout the semester. So our next one is our R here with the reinventor. And for this, I, think about having, the instructor notebook, you have a student notebook, you can do some collaborative activities within the class for the instructor notebook. But what if you create small groups or teams within your class and you want them to help support each other? This can be where you have a collaborative notebook. So I have had each of the team members collect, or one person will create the notebook and then collect their emails and share it with everybody in the team. And one way that I've tried this is using vocabulary terms. And so I might have a list of all the different vocabulary terms that we need to work on for that module or even for the semester. And then it is up to that support group or that team to decide how they can work together to study and create vocabulary flashcards. I might give them some templates, but this is just another way for them to collaborate and share the work, or also even prepare presentations. So the K for Spark becomes the knowledge sharer. And with this is kind of that big step of, I feel comfortable with, creating a notebook, having students do it, using them for collaboration. And this is something that would be great to work on for peer evaluation or even with your other colleagues. So as you can see here, you would create an interactive notebook, just as we've done before, but this time it would be shared with colleagues and not necessarily within your department. So I would first take and I would use that notebook, and I would think about how we might collaborate on course content, how we may collaborate with programs of study, and just in general, some great teaching tips. This is just another easy way to have a one-stop shop of everything coming together within that Google presentation, which sometimes is easier for people than having to, sort through, all these documents that they might have saved in their drive. So, after having used digital notebooks in all of my courses, I'm convinced of their benefits. I've turned them into pre, during, and post-reading activities. They are portable and accessible, especially for students whose cell phones seem to be permanently stuck to their hands. I can see my students sharing ideas and resources in real time as they work in my class. I'm able to promote my students' individuality and creativity by encouraging them to make their notebooks meet their own personal learning styles. It allows for them to not only put in text for notes, but also to link videos and websites and other things that they might find. So thank you again for viewing our presentation today. If you need additional support or you have any questions, please feel free to contact either Michelle or Irene. We would be happy to assist you.